Some of the most devastating betrayals in life won't be hurled at you from clear enemies. They'll come softly, cloaked in warmth, from those who greet you with open arms. Call Eurindond, play the part of someone who wants to see you thrive. You know this type well, the ones who laugh at your jokes, applaud your victories, and act like they stand in your corner. Yet, behind that polished smile lies a quiet hostility. With every subtle jab, every cleverly veiled remark, they slip poison into your self-esteem. Not all at once, but drop by drop, their words feel harmless, almost playful. But they are carefully chosen to dull your brilliance, to drain your energy, and to make you second-guess yourself until your dreams feel just out of reach. They don't want to lift you up. They want to keep you small enough to never cast a shadow over them. That's not friendship. That's the slow erosion of trust at the hands of someone who hides behind it. That's not a friend. That's a frenemy, smiling as they chip away at the very light they once claimed to admire. The danger isn't always obvious. Frenemies don't come with flashing warning signs or dramatic confrontations. Instead, they slip into your life disguised as support, slowly weaving doubt into your mind while smiling to your face. And if you're not careful, they'll sabotage your peace for years, leaving you second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're paranoid or if you're just imagining things. Today, we're cutting through that fog. I'm going to reveal 5 unmistakable signs you're dealing with a frenemy, and why cutting ties isn't just an option. It's an act of self-preservation. These aren't random guesses or clickbait theories. They're patterns that psychologists have observed again and again in toxic, manipulative relationships. So, if you've ever walked away from a conversation with someone you trust, only to feel a heavy pit in your stomach, this video is for you. Because your peace of mind is priceless. Your growth, your calm, and your ability to stay grounded in life, they deserve your protection. And today, we're going to give you that clarity. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get real. And hey, if this video resonates, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Drop your own experiences with frenemies in the comments, because your story might just help someone else recognize the same patterns in their own life. 1. Understanding frenemies. Let's start with a truth that cuts deep. Some of the most devastating betrayals don't come from people who openly dislike you. They come from people who claim to love and support you. These people don't announce their hostility. They hide it behind smiles, polished compliments, and just enough kindness to keep you from questioning their motives. I believe they're on your side, but beneath the surface, they're playing a long game that slowly chips away at your confidence. One day, you wake up realizing you're second-guessing everything you do. You wonder, am I overreacting? Am I too sensitive? Am I imagining things? But you're not. This is what it feels like to deal with a frenemy, a person who shows support in private, but subtly undermines you when it matters most. They're shapeshifters, masters at reading a room and adapting their mask. Alone with you, they're encouraging, praising your creativity and your ideas. But around others, that support vanishes. Instead, they drop dismissive comments, clever jokes, or subtle digs that make you look foolish or unprepared. Maybe you've shared a brilliant idea in private, and they told you, "That's genius." But when the team is gathered, suddenly they say, "Well, that's one option." Though it might not be practical, planting seeds of doubt while avoiding direct responsibility. This isn't clumsiness or an innocent slip of the tongue. It's a calculated strategy. The more you question yourself, the less likely you are to question them. And it's insidious because each individual incident feels so small. A careless remark here, a lukewarm compliment there. On their own, they're easy to dismiss. And if you dare confront them, they feign innocence. "Oh, that's not what I meant," or "You're taking it the wrong way." It's emotional manipulation. Pure and simple psychologists call it ambient abuse because it surrounds you like a constant low-grade fog of confusion and self-doubt. You don't even realize how heavy it is until you step away. Imagine this. You're collaborating with someone on a big community project. You've poured hours into planning, coordinating volunteers, securing funding. In private, they gush about your leadership, calling you an inspiration. But when the committee meets, they suddenly start pointing out flaws you never discussed. Their tone changes. Their words now cast shadows over your hard work. It's like being praised in private, but humiliated in public. And slowly, piece by piece, you start questioning your abilities, not because you're lacking, but because you're being manipulated. We ended the last section with a painful truth. Frenemies don't always reveal their hand through obvious attacks. They chip away at you quietly, smiling all the while. Now, let's go a step deeper. These people often position themselves as the voice of reason, as if they're your wise advisor, while subtly painting your work as rushed, sloppy, or naive. In those moments, you leave meetings not just feeling corrected, but feeling small. You walk out with your shoulders heavy, humiliated, and worst of all, betrayed. This is the classic fingerprint of a frenemy. Their goal isn't to help you grow. It's not constructive criticism, no matter how they package it. It's a tactic designed to slow you down just enough so you'll never outshine them, never become a threat. Their approval is never unconditional. Their criticism is always calculated. Every word they say has a purpose, and that purpose is control. They thrive on the power imbalance that grows when you start relying on them to validate your choices. And let's be honest, this isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Because over time, you stop trusting your own instincts. You start deferring your confidence to the one person who least deserves it. The Stoics understood this dynamic deeply. Epictetus once warned, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That doesn't mean you're responsible for their cruelty, but it does mean you hold the power to control your reaction. Recognizing the manipulation is your first act of freedom. You don't have to outwit them or fight them on their battlefield. That only feeds their game. Instead, you need to see them clearly for who they are and refuse to be pulled into their drama. The solution lies in discernment, choosing carefully who earns your trust and maintaining emotional distance. Stoicism doesn't ask you to stop caring about people. It teaches you to stop giving them the power to define your worth. When you see someone behaving one way in private, but another in public, Don't create excuses for them. Don't convince yourself they didn't mean it. Take their actions at face value, accept what they've shown you, and then you decide. Do you limit what you share with them? Do you spend less time with them? Or, in some cases, do you cut ties entirely? That's not cruelty. That's self-respect. Here's the truth. Real friends don't make you feel small. They don't plant seeds of doubt in your mind for their personal gain. They don't shift blame onto you when you react to their cruelty. True friends are consistent, whether you're alone or in a crowd. They celebrate your success, even when it doesn't benefit them. It can be heartbreaking, even to accept that someone you trusted has been quietly working against you. There's grief in that realization. But that grief is cleansing. It clears out space for healthier relationships once built on honesty, respect, and genuine care. You can't control whether someone chooses manipulation, but you can choose not to participate in their games. You can build your character, strengthen your clarity of mind, and develop the inner calm that keeps you steady in the face of duplicity. This is where Stoic philosophy gives you its greatest power. It doesn't promise a life free from pain or betrayal. It promises that you can withstand them without breaking. Your self-worth is yours alone to guard. And this is why recognizing these patterns early is so crucial. The sooner you see their two-faced behavior for what it is, the sooner you can reclaim your peace. If these insights resonate with you, leave a yes in the comments below. Your thoughts matter. Your story might help someone else see the truth in their own relationships. Now, let's move to the next sign. Competitive undermining. These same people don't just attack your confidence behind closed doors, but go out of their way to sabotage your success while pretending to cheer you on. In the last section, we uncovered how frenemies erode trust by pretending to guide you while quietly making you doubt yourself. Now, let's go even deeper and talk about one of the most toxic tactics they use to keep you from ever outshining them. 2. Competitive undermining. This next sign is one of the ugliest, most corrosive behaviors you'll encounter when dealing with a frenemy. Competitive undermining. This isn't ordinary rivalry. Healthy competition can be inspiring. It pushes both sides to grow, to sharpen their skills, to become better. In a true friendship, you cheer for your friend's success, and they celebrate yours. Their wins don't threaten you. It's mutual respect, iron sharpening iron. But frenemies, they don't play by those rules. To them, your success feels like an attack, as if your achievements somehow cast a shadow over their worth. They don't see your progress as something to admire. They see it as something to fear. And here's the twist. They rarely sabotage you openly. It's rarely a loud insult or a dramatic confrontation. Instead, their tactics are quiet, subtle, and wrapped in the disguise of helpfulness or concern. They undermine you in whispers, not shouts. Picture this. You've worked tirelessly for years, building your skills and reputation, and now you are finally ready to apply for a major promotion. You're nervous, but excited, so you confide in someone you believe is your friend. Instead of cheering you on, they tilt their head, sigh, and tell you about all the office politics up there. They suggest you might not have enough experience yet. That maybe you should wait until you're really ready. By the end of the conversation, your excitement has been replaced with hesitation. You think they're being realistic, honest, maybe even protective. But look closer. Did their words bring clarity? No, they planted seeds of doubt. That's not genuine concerns, sabotage. The goal is to hold you back, to keep you from stepping into the spotlight so they won't have to confront their own insecurities. It's easier for them to dim your fire than face their fear of being overshadowed. And this sabotage doesn't end with words. It seeps into shared projects. Imagine working together on an important community event. You agree to split responsibilities, but when deadlines come, they're late, unprepared, or leave you scrambling to fix their mistakes. Suddenly, you look incompetent by association while they manage to maintain their image. Or think of a time when they promised to review your presentation. Instead of offering helpful feedback, they dump confusing last-minute changes on you, making your delivery weaker rather than stronger. Then there's the way they handle your achievements. They can't just say, "Congratulations, I'm proud of you," and mean it. Instead, they minimize your accomplishment, suggesting it wasn't that impressive, or implying you had some unfair advantage. They always find a way to position themselves just slightly higher, a little better. These moments sting deeply, not just because of the words, but because of who's speaking them. This is someone you trusted, someone you thought was rooting for you. That betrayal cuts sharper than a stranger's insult. And to make it worse, their actions are often hard to prove. Each incident can be explained away, making you feel like you're overreacting if you speak up. That's why so many people stay stuck in these toxic dynamics for years, questioning their own instincts, slowly losing the confidence they fought so hard to build. The Stoics understood this kind of manipulation well. They taught us to see these tactics clearly, not as proof that you're weak or paranoid, but as external threats to your peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the essence of surviving competitive undermining. Your power lies in recognizing the pattern and refusing to let it dictate your path. You can't control whether someone feels threatened by your success. You can't change their need to compete destructively. But you can absolutely control your response. And the first step is to trust your instincts. That sick feeling in your gut when someone constantly dampens your excitement or throws in doubts. Just as you're about to take a leap, it's not paranoia. It's a warning. Once you see the pattern, you stop playing their game. You limit how much you share about your goals and plans. You stop handing them ammunition they can use to slow you down. And most importantly, you refuse to let their words steer your choices. You don't owe anyone your smallness. We just saw how conditional support creates an emotional trap. How a so-called friend can use generosity as a leash. Now let's go deeper into what that looks like in your day-to-day life. You start questioning if you're even allowed to say no because of everything they've done for you, and they make sure you don't forget it. Step out of line, assert yourself, or set a boundary, and they'll quickly remind you subtly or directly of every favor they've ever granted. This toxic cycle forces you into emotional servitude. Without even realizing it, you begin prioritizing their comfort, their needs, and their approval over your own boundaries just to keep the peace. You tell yourself you're being a good friend. But the truth is, you're not acting out of kindness. You're acting out of fear. You're trying to avoid the cold shoulder, the passive-aggressive silence, the guilt trips that come when you don't play by their rules. Real friendship doesn't keep score. Healthy relationships have a natural rhythm of balance, of give and take. Sometimes you're the one who needs more. Sometimes they are. But in a healthy friendship, there's trust that it will balance out over time. You don't have to prove your worth to be loved. You don't have to earn someone's presence by staying small, overly grateful, or constantly indebted. That's what makes conditional support so damaging. It's not obvious at first. It often looks like generosity. It feels like guarantee. You realize there's a price tag attached. That's the brilliance of manipulation to praise on your gratitude, your kindness, and your desire to see the best in people. Over time, this dynamic changes you. You begin to expect inconsistency. You second-guess whether you even deserve help unless you're ready to pay it back in full. Slowly, you become conditioned to believe love and support always come with strings attached. The Stoics warned us that peace must never be held hostage by someone else's whims. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. That privilege includes the right to give and receive. Love freely, without conditions." When someone turns kindness into a bargaining chip, they violate that fundamental dignity. So, how do you deal with it? First, you have to recognize the pattern. Don't excuse it as business or bad timing when it's repeated over and over. If someone consistently disappears during your darkest hours, but demands the spotlight during your victories, see that clearly for what it is. Second, stop bargaining for their affection. You don't owe anyone emotional labor to keep their friendship. Their withdrawal is their choice, not your failing. Don't let them guilt you into self-sacrifice when their loyalty only shows up when it's convenient. Third, set boundaries. Unapologetically, limit what you give. Limit what you share. You're under no obligation to invite them into your most precious milestones if they haven't earned that trust. You can still be polite, even kind, without granting them access to your most vulnerable self. And most importantly, cultivate that steady, resilient spirit Stoicism teaches us. When your self-worth no longer depends on external validation, manipulation loses its grip on you. You learn to be your own source of support, to embody the traits you seek in others: loyalty, generosity, and consistency without expectation. Recognizing conditional support for what it truly is doesn't make you cold or unkind, makes you honest. It sets you free from years of emotional servitude. It restores your right to ask for help without feeling indebted, to celebrate your success without making someone else the star of your story. If these insights resonate, drop a yes in the comments below. Your thoughts matter, and your story may help others break free from these patterns as we move into the next. Sign information weaponization will explore one of the deepest betrayals of all. When someone collects your secrets, not to protect you, but to use them against you. This is one of the most devastating forms of manipulation, and spotting it early is crucial to safeguarding your dignity and your peace. In the last section, we saw how frenemies can use kindness as a weapon, turning support into leverage. Let's look at another kind of betrayal, one that cuts even deeper. This time, it's not about what they do when you're struggling, but how they react when you're finally winning. Picture this. You've been grinding for months, maybe even years. Then it finally happens. You close that big deal at work. You get approved for that dream apartment you've been eyeing. Or maybe you receive a clean bill of health after weeks of anxious waiting. Your first instinct, to share it with the people who matter most to you. You expect smiles, excitement, and heartfelt congratulations. That's what friendship is supposed to feel, like a safe space where your victories are celebrated, not minimized. But with a frenemy, the reaction is completely different. Instead of joy, you get deflection. Instead of "I'm so proud of you," you get a critique, a side comment, or worse, silence. You tell them about your new place, and they immediately point out how the neighborhood has gone downhill, warn you about the landlord's reputation. You proudly share that you've hit your sales target, and they respond not with praise, but with a bigger story about their own achievements. Or they casually remind you that numbers don't mean everything, and don't be fooled. This isn't innocent awkwardness or bad timing. It's a strategy, a deliberate attempt to dull your excitement and shrink your triumph so they don't have to feel small in comparison. I once worked with a client who had just received a prestigious award at her job after years of underappreciated effort. She was thrilled and couldn't wait to share the news with a close friend. But instead of a genuine celebration, she got a thin smile and a dismissive comment about how awards are all politics anyway. Her friend even added that she knew people more deserving who were passed over. By the end of that phone call, my client felt embarrassed for even mentioning it, like she was arrogant for wanting to celebrate. That's celebration sabotage in its purest form. It's not forgetfulness. It's not clumsy social skills. It's an intentional refusal to share in your joy. Because to them, your win feels like their loss. Your achievement highlights their lack of progress, their dissatisfaction, their insecurity. And instead of processing their emotions like an adult, they choose to manage those feelings by cutting you down to size. Psychologists call this joy theft, and it's one of the most corrosive forms of relational harm because our milestones matter. Celebration is not just about parties or pats on the back. It's how we internalize our growth. When we celebrate, we tell ourselves, this was worth it. I'm proud of what I accomplished. But when someone consistently denies you that affirmation, it plants seeds of self-doubt deep inside. Soon, you find yourself hedging before sharing good news. It's not that big a deal, was just lucky. You start downplaying your success before they even get the chance to. And eventually, you might stop sharing altogether. Silence feels safer than being humiliated, belittled, or made to feel like your happiness is too much. This isn't just petty behavior. It's profoundly damaging to your sense of worth. It sends the unspoken message: your success is inconvenient. Your happiness is excessive. Your pride is arrogance. And worst of all, it's your job to manage my feelings about your life. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that we can't control other people's reactions, but we always control our response. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." So much of the pain from these moments isn't only in what a frenemy says, it's in how we absorb their words, how we let them dictate the worth of our accomplishments. The first step toward freedom is recognizing this pattern. You can't change a frenemy's insecurity, but you can choose not to let them become the authority over your joy. You can stop offering them the privilege of your good news if they've proven they won't honor it. Protecting your happiness is not arrogance, says self-respect. In the last section, we talked about how frenemies can sabotage your joy, turning your proudest moments into something you feel the need to hide. Now, let's focus on reclaiming that joy and setting clear boundaries around your heart and your peace. You have the power to choose who gets a front row seat to your life. Share your victories with people who clap the loudest, who feel genuine. Pride in your growth, who don't view your success as an indictment of their own choices. And if you must keep frenemies in your orbit because of work, family, or shared social circles, you can still manage those relationships with clear-eyed realism. Don't give them access to your most meaningful milestones. Don't hand them the privilege of being in your inner circle, the circle that gets the first call when something beautiful happens. Don't allow them to turn your celebrations into shame. And here's a hard but necessary question. Have you ever been the person who struggles to celebrate others? Do you feel that quiet pang of envy when someone else shines, that temptation to mention flaws or possible downsides to their big news? This is where honesty matters. The line between being a victim of this behavior and unknowingly becoming perpetrator can blur if we aren't self-aware. Being a true friend means setting aside your insecurities long enough to honor someone else's joy. Real friends show up, cheer without caveats, and make space for your light to shine. They don't treat happiness like a limited resource that needs to be rationed. They understand there's more than enough joy to go around. So, when you spot people who refuse to celebrate with you, don't waste your energy trying to fix them. It's not your job to heal their jealousy. Your responsibility is to protect your peace. Hold your victories close. Share them only with those who truly want to see you win, because you deserve to be proud of what you've accomplished. You deserve to celebrate every milestone without apology. Anyone who tries to take that from you is showing you exactly who they are. As we wrap up these warning signs, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. Spotting a frenemy isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about being honest, about recognizing patterns that drain your energy, erode your confidence, and rob you of your calm. If you've ever experienced this kind of sabotage, if you've ever hesitated to share your own wins because someone made you feel ashamed, share your story in the comments below. Let's shine a light on these toxic dynamics together. so we can build healthier, more authentic connections. And if you've been nodding along with that heavy feeling in your chest because you see these signs in someone close to you, know this: you're not overreacting. You're waking up. You're seeing the truth that's been silently draining you for far too long. And that kind of awareness takes courage. But here's the gift. Awareness gives you choices. You no longer have to play along. You can choose clarity over confusion, strength over appeasement. The Stoics taught us to focus only on what we can control. When you can control who you let into your mind, your heart, and your inner circle. Starting today, draw that line. Say no to the people who chip away at your joy, and yes to those who uplift and celebrate you. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect. And self-respect is freedom. Remember, you deserve relationships that feel safe, honest, and supportive. You deserve to share your wins without shame, to ask for help without feeling indebted, to live unapologetically without fear of sabotage. Don't let anyone shrink you to soothe their insecurities. If this video helped you see things clearly, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Havenway for more Stoic wisdom and strategies for inner peace, and share this video with someone who needs it. Drop a comment below and let me know which sign hit hardest for you. Let's start a conversation. Your journey toward calmer, truer, and more Stoic relationships begins now. And trust me, your future self will thank you for every boundary you set today.